What is up, everybody? Keith Jameson, go back guy 31 on Sorare, here for another Sorare Stateside MLS recap. Sorry that it's Wednesday morning. Really wanted to record Monday night. Kid got sick, been sick all day yesterday during my window. Then all of a sudden, more stuff. So we're here Wednesday morning, ready to go. I will try my best to get these out. I think the actual answer is Sunday night during the final game in the future, but. Looking forward to this episode. We're going to go over all the game by game from Sorare's perspective. Going to do three new segments. So please give me feedback if you like it. It's going to be stock up, stock down, and then ones to watch at the end. Meaning, once we go through, kind of look at matchups and guys that I think are really primed to crush this coming weekend. And maybe are guys that either you want to target in your galleries for the matchups. If you want a matchup flip, all that good stuff. So quick reminder: subscribe, comment. We don't have a ton of time, so let's just jump right into it. I do want to start with stock up, stock down. Stock up, and in the future, I will work on graphics. But again, I went over the time issues. Bear with me. Stock up Frankie Amaya, and we'll use Sorare data here just to at least give us some perspective on there. So Frankie Amaya is my first stock up. Frankie Amaya started the season out 0.055. ETH. He's up, we see floor 3-day average 0.2. Honestly, I think 0.225 is still a really good deal. Frankie Amaya is not taking half the sets, former top pick, just bossing the midfield for what now right now is a decent New York Red Bulls team. I didn't really have good expectations for Red Bull, and they look really good. They're home versus Minnesota this weekend too, so this might be another really good spot for Frankie Amaya. But why is it stock up? Look at the last two games. He had an assist in both games, but we had 70, and then we had 94th in assists, 33.6 all around. It's crazy. Kid's only 21 years old. Again, does everything we kind of want for a midfield. Takes sets, defensive responsibilities, tackles like a mother. Frankie Amaya is definitely a guy you want to look at. Teammate Lewis Morgan, off to a great start as well. He's next stock up. I think, if you remember, the beginning of last year, Lewis Morgan was one of the hot commodities, and so everybody wanted a piece of him. And then let's look at the all here. Look for Inter Miami 2 years ago was really good. Then last year just a horrific time. Well, this year we started out with 80 with a decisive, 19.8 all around, 92 with 3 decisives. He had a hat trick and 12.5 all around. And then Lewis Morgan, getting splitting sets with Amaya, playing a little wing back outside role on a really good team, could have some big scores this year. Lucas Ryan, I don't know if there's anybody better. Now we're all of a sudden getting up into nosebleed prices. But Lucas we had just, an auction in the 0.825 range. Somebody followed up with 0.83. But Lucas Ryan, almost hundreds to start out. If you look at the last couple games, you take out these, which were for his when he became Armenian to play internationally. But look at the last 5. Have we ever seen a last 5? If anybody from Sorare data is watching, have we ever seen the last 5 of 97.8, 100, 97.6, 97, and 96? That's flipping nuts. And now this weekend, he gets home game versus Toronto. Lucas Ryan is about as stock up as you possibly could get. Sebastian Driussi, a lot of people are after the first 2 games calling for him to be an early MVP candidate. I cannot disagree whatsoever. Much like Lucas Ryan, look at his last 5. He had 43 away to Dallas, but 82, 49, 79, 96, 26 all around versus Miami. Austin, I think a really good test for them going to Portland this weekend. But they had 2 great matchups to start the season, and Driussi absolutely mashed. And then finally, a little bit off the chart and somebody that is somewhat affordable, Remy Walter for Sporting Kansas City. I should note that Remy Walter right now, has a fantastic role, taking close to monopoly set pieces. Johnny Russell could take some, Shallow Eye could take some on the other side, but right now it's Remy Walter. The caveat is once Gotti Kinda is back, I think Sporting Kansas City is desperately missing a guy like Gotti Kinda that can attack the box. He is their new number 10. Just super aggressive, and it'll push Remy Walter more and more back to that Elias Sanchez role, a little bit deeper. You're distributing from a little bit further outside the box. That being said, it's hard to fault Remy Walter. 59.76. He's going to cost you in that 1.2. I'm sorry, not 1.2, 0.12 range for a midfielder that's definitely starting. It's only mid-20s on a top team. I think that's a really good deal. So stock up Remy Walter. Stock down Julian Gressel. And I'm going to be doing 2 DC United pieces. I know there's a few DC United tout fans out there. I'm sorry, but I don't think your team's all that good. Julian Gressel, first 2 games season, 37 versus Charlotte, 39 away to Cincinnati. These are 2 of the best matchups you can get. Yes, Cincinnati is away, but not breaking 40 in either. Yikes. Let's look at the price graph. It's not really showing a ton of the downfall. I think a lot of people bought for the matchup versus Charlotte. But for me, Julian Gressel, especially being like a midfielder or defender of cards, not something I'm going near. Moses Neyman was the other DC player I'm going to bring up. He got a huge amount of hype before the season. You can see that coming there. 0.188. I think it's got as high as 0.2. He's fresh off of a red card and only 39 SO5 versus Charlotte at home, 26 versus Cincinnati. Yes, he had 11 all around, but that is a rough start for the young kid. I think he's going to be fine. But right now, the performance is not matching the hype. Ryan Gold, not on the platform, but I think I can still get a graph. I think Ryan Gold, the reason he makes this is we were all so excited. Like, what is not to be excited about this, right? Well, to start the season out, he's losing sets. He's not taking a set piece in the first 2 games. Vancouver, was kind of a darling team, a lot due to Ryan Gold. And they've started out slow. They were horrendous versus Columbus. The red card didn't help. They held fort at home versus NYC, but really didn't do a lot on the front foot. And Ryan Gold, 8 and 8.9 all around. This is not the guy that we want to pay 1 ETH for. This is the guy we want 1 ETH for. 22, 24, 14, 12. And he's not going to get all that all around without set pieces. So we've really got to watch Ryan Gold. But like, if his auction was tomorrow and he was 1 ETH, I don't think I could go anywhere near it. Clement Jacques was the guy I told you to stay away from. I'm still seeing people buying, especially after that horrendous game versus Austin. Like, Clement Jacques is going to lose that job. Even he was great. He was going to lose the job to a superior Nick Marsman. And now it's after allowing 5 versus Austin. Like, there's no chance that he's going to keep that job. So you're on borrowed time, and paying 2.5 for or 0.25 for a guy on borrowed time is nuts. All these people, you need to get the hell out before it goes worse. So Clement Jacques, to me, stock down. And finally, Darwin Quintero. I'm like very thankful that I sold before the season. I was very high on Darwin Quintero until he started not starting in the preseason. You can see one of my sales is still there. I'm sorry, guy or gal that bought him, but we are steadily going down. I think that realistically, Darwin Quintero has to get that starting spot back. Houston is dying for creativeness, especially when they get Hector Herrera in the midfield in the middle of the season. I think it's going to improve, but they desperately need some creative outlet. Darwin Quintero is that guy. I actually, despite it being stocked down, I do think there's a buying opportunity to be had there if you're patient and if you kind of, what's the right word? You got like a thick stomach. Like, you might get another bench. You might see that price go down even further if he gets another bench, but just know the talent is there. And let me bring my screen back up one more time. I don't know why I didn't share it. But in the last season, I mean, the talent is there. And Houston's going to need him for them to be competitive. So Darwin Quintero wraps up stock upside down. So please, if you like the segment, let me know. We'll keep going to it. At the end of the show, we'll do a couple ones to watch. Let's go quickly through last weekend's games from a Sorare perspective. And again, just a high level overview because it's long, a lot of games. Give me a second. I'm going to kind of like sit here. All right. New England versus Dallas. Shockingly, New England only scores on the heel PK that he also drew. Paxton Pomykal, very, very bad play. Should just let it go. Who knows how the game plays out, but shockingly, Dallas outpossesses New England here. which I think is crazy. I don't think anybody would have picked that before the season. Hey, buddy, go watch the rest of your show. I'm almost done. Sorry, parenting as we go. Thank you. So, thank you, buddy. I love you too. So I think the shocking thing is, like, I thought it was going to be 3-4-0. Dallas played really good. Dallas outpossessed New England. Matt Hedges was awesome in the back, had clearance off the line. Brandon Saravina still took a monopoly of set pieces. Jesus Ferreira finally got some all around, but I think we're really, really concerned with Jesus Ferreira at close to like high, like 0.8, 0.9 ETH. That if he's not going to have set pieces, he's going to be a goal dependent forward. The thing that PSU had brought up on the Andrews or the Sorare podcast weeks ago, which never clicked until I was looking for forward now, is there's just nobody U23 like that's good in MLS. It's like he and Tati Castellanos is going to cost you way over one. And when the summer comes, you're going to be scared to death that he's going to transfer to Europe. So yeah, it's tough. I get the Ferreira thing, but just understand what you're buying. It's not the same Jesus Ferreira that was pumping out 70s and 80s last year. He's going to need decisive to get there. On New England, I'm not concerned about New England. I think there's a lot of changes and stuff that is going on there. Earl Edwards, for what it's worth, a lot of people I know that the Horvath rumors, Earl Edwards might be doing enough right now to keep the job. Like Turner's going to come back. He's going to start, but when Turner leaves for Arsenal, they may just go, Earl Edwards is enough. Not two clean sheets. Clean sheet versus Dallas, was decent versus Portland. He should get a start this midweek and maybe this weekend. I think that there's a good chance we don't see Turner back until at international break. If Earl Edwards, and he has a nice little cushy run of fixtures coming up, like look at New England's fixtures. You've got Pumas tonight, then you got Real Salt Lake. You've then got Pumas again, then you got Charlotte, and then we go to break. So it is very interesting to say the least. Let me hope I can get back on my screen, please. All right, so that would be New England. I'm not scared of Kasavabu. I'm not scared about Butska. Just mind your time. Matchups are coming. Team just needs to get rolling. All right, second game, Toronto versus Red Bull. We kind of already talked about Red Bull. Amaya, Morgan are definitely the guys to kind of go get. Clemia has been looking really good as well, but those are the guys I want. Aaron Long, I think I just picked up one. I think Aaron Long's a little bit cheap, right around 0.1 ETH. They have a really good matchup versus Minnesota coming up, so those would be the guys. Amaya, Long, Lewis Morgan. I think Toronto, anybody outside Pozuelo is a scary. Pozuelo, so actually putting up all around. He's like been 15 and 16 all around, just no decisives. So he could be a decent shout. They do have a really tough matchup versus Columbus coming up, but I just think for the most part, Toronto is just kind of very much a stay away team right now. Unless you want to bide your time once Insigne shows up, it'll get better. But right now, the only guy really to own is Alejandro Pozuelo. Sporting versus Dynamo. Sporting dominated this game, 58% possession. It was all played in their half. Johnny Russell had a really, really good pass to Shallow Eye, who he just blew the opportunity on. I think everybody, if anybody is concerned about Russell, if he had that assist and that decisive, then nobody would be worried. So don't get results oriented. I did see his price drop in like the 0.7s. That might actually be a decent buy at this point for what was the number one forward last year. I mentioned this with the Remy Walter segment. He's been great. Sporting desperately needs Gotti Kinda back. I think that's going to change everything. I have seen he's only going to be a couple weeks. Maybe he comes back after the break. And I think we're looking at a different Sporting. Fontas is back to being a boss. So that's a really good defensive pickup and probably one of the better defenders. Houston's just a mess. I think Fafa works for a forward, that's under 0.2. But outside of that, there's not really anything I want in Houston. The other guy I'm going to be watching for is Quintero. If you can get Quintero, just throwing this out there, if you can get Quintero under 0.1, it's just a matter of time. I truly feel like they didn't bring him back as a DP to sit on the bench. So Montreal and Union, Montreal stinks. It's Georgi Mihailovic and nothing else for me. Yeah, that's about it. Wanyama still is fine for a grinder team, but if you have a little bit more of a budget, you can definitely do better. Philadelphia, Gazdag, I brought up last time. I think Gazdag is going to be a really, really killer card. I pray he's a forward. He's going to be a midfielder, but I really would love to have him be a forward. Carranza is going to miss next game. So he wasn't in the squad. I didn't look it up, but Corey Burke and Sergio Santos just are up front. And they have, there's a decent matchup. Yeah, versus San Jose at home. Hardest part is just if you're going to like look at Corey Burke for like a 1 week filler at forward and try to flip on the fixtures, just make sure you understand why he wasn't in the squad. I didn't look that up, but Kai Wagner still really good. But again, my biggest takeaway is Gazdag is awesome. Alejandro Bedoya went off. I did actually search him. I have a buddy that has Bedoya. I didn't see anything about the injury, so he should be fine. He's a good little plug, still under 0.1. I think he does a lot of good for your lineups. San Jose versus Crew, crazy game of the weekend. A lot of people were all over like Columbus stacks. Columbus actually closed this game at plus 300, but then were bailed out by a really early Jamiro Montero red card. So he's going to miss a couple matches. Was not a good red card either. Spikes over the ball. And then the Crew dominate. But San Jose was taking it before them. Crew dominate. So the final few minutes, 2 set pieces to Calvo, and you have 3-3. Room gets wrecked. Lucas Elorano's really good. You know, I don't have much else to say about Columbus. I think they have a great matchup versus Toronto at home coming up. They're pissed off after this game. You know, I think I guess the other big thing is Miguel Berry. I was watching the game. He missed 2 legitimate, really good chances. Zardes comes in and scores. So is that going to be controversy? Is Zardes getting the next start? I would be worried if I'm Miguel Berry's holder, especially considering what Miguel Berry is going for. And I'm like a 0.4 range. Like if you're a Miguel Berry holder, like you just want to see Zardes traded, because if he struggles out of form, like Zardes has a lot of equity built up. And I think that could be a really tough situation moving over and over again if they sub in, sub out. Minnesota, Nashville, this game was really marred by the weather. Hani Mukhtar started the game out in the decisive. Hani Mukhtar is incredibly good. I was really screwed up selling him in the offseason, thinking that there would be like a dip in prices. Like never try to predict the dip. Timing is tough, but he's like well close to an ETH now. They have, you know, this little road trip's going to end eventually. They're doing a great job right now, just holding serve, you know, winning the game. What was it at Seattle, getting a draw at Minnesota. Nashville's very good. You know, Joe Willis, Walker Zimmerman stacks are going to win people a lot of money this season. Minnesota, I think the thing that I leave with is that Reynoso is struggling. He should be fine, but you know, the hardest thing for me is just that the West is so good that these mid-level Western teams, God, you're going to look at matchup after matchup and go, why can't we play the East? Like I'm so much East is greater than the West. Like if Minnesota's in the East, like Reynoso would be like a top 10 card on the MLS platform. But right now, I think he's struggling. He should be fine. Should take PKs. You know, he's going to get decisive actions, but you know, the all around is just not that great right now. Cincinnati and DC, this was a game of sucks. Let's just start on the DC side. I kind of already went over some stock downs. Stock up though, you know, very close to them is Bill Hamid, who now has 88 and 91 in the first 2 games, which is insane from a keeper. They still have a couple of good fixtures coming up. They have Chicago coming up this weekend, who hasn't scored this season. Just saw Bill Hamid before I got on, sold for like 0.62, I think. So I think that's going to keep getting a run. Like if Bill Hamid does one more game of like 70 or 80, like, and we don't have new MLS cards, like he could be in that 0.75, 0.8 range. So if you're a Bill Hamid holder, you definitely want to hold on to that card and hope that the form continues. But, you know, I don't think DC is all that great. There's not a lot of guys I want on their side. Cincinnati definitely is not all that great. Luciano Acosta is still putting up some good all-around numbers. Cincinnati will score, but they're going to struggle once again this season. I think especially away from home, they're going to be a team that we want to target. They play Orlando this weekend. I'm definitely going to want to target some Orlando players that I'll bring up. Colorado versus DC. I'm sorry, Colorado versus Atlanta. Had a feeling Atlanta would struggle with no Julian Rojo, with no, oh dear God, not Torres. I can't remember the kid's name all of a sudden. Sorry, no, not enough coffee, but Atlanta's going to be fine. I see some overreaction about Atlanta. I see some overreaction about Joseph. Like I thought they were going to get pounced in Colorado. If anything, I take a little bit of solace in the fact that they were creating without any creative players. Like you look up and down, they're playing Brooks Lennon as a winger. Tyler Wolf, I'm sure he's going to be a good player in time, but he's a young kid. Look at this midfield: Sejek, Campbell, Rosetta. Like there's nobody creating opportunities for Joseph. Now that's the biggest problem until they get the reinforcement. Almeida, geez, there's the name. Until they get Almeida, until they get Aurelio back, is what are they going to do to get Joseph some service? Because as a striker, right, like not as like a 10, but like as a striker, you are as good as the guys around you make opportunities. Why did I like Joseph for the season? Because of Aurelio, because of Almeida. Like elite level guys creating for him. While those are out, Joseph could struggle. Now, is he going to struggle versus Charlotte at home? I don't know. I think he'll get decisive. He's going to be in my best lineup, but don't panic on Joseph. Colorado, Diego Rubio helped me win tier 1. So thank you, Diego. I did tell everybody not to panic about Colorado, that I thought it was tactical. Barrios and Rubio being out last game. So that was a great little opportunity to pick up Barrios plus 0.1. Rubio got down as like the 1.16 ranges. Now he's way up there. People are going to be very reactive. That's one thing to keep in mind this season is a benching happens. Like I've been benching Quintero. If you believe in the talent, you have a potential buying opportunity. You just got to be patient. Yeah, I think Colorado is kind of who we thought they are. They're going to be a good home team. They're going to keep a lot of sheets at home, and then away they're going to struggle because they're going to be very much playing the counterattack. So to me, Jack Price struggling this season, I think that's maybe a surprise. He's getting up to 0.5 ETH. I think that if he gets down in the 0.3 range, I'm like very much going to be a buyer. But it's kind of what I talked about. West is greater than East, so I don't want too many West teams, and I don't want to. Despite Colorado winning the West this year, I think that's more of an aberration. Like if you just look at their talent level, to me, they're a mid-table Western side. Chicago and Orlando, there's not much here. Shaqiri's going to be fine, but still no decisive actions. His all-around's been good. Gaston Jimenez, guy that I was pumping for the season. DP, he was awesome this game with tackles. I think that Shaqiri, Jimenez, and Przelko are the three, field players to target. Casper will get goals. It's just going to take time. You have a lot of changes that happened here with Shaqiri specifically. I think if you're a Chicago fan or if like you're a Slonina owner, what you should be very, very optimistic about is him keeping clean sheets. Defense was so much of the problem that it seems like defensive shape and structure is fixed. Shaqiri, Przelko, when they get Torres mid-season, all that's going to come. So, I'm still thinking that Chicago's fine. I said they're going to make a breakout team. Maybe I was a little fast there. Orlando City, great matchup coming up. I don't really take anything badly in this game. Urso had a goal chopped off by VAR. Pereira splitting sets with Torres. Torres hasn't hit the ground running. Watch for Pereira and Torres to crush this weekend at home versus Cincinnati. All right, let's keep going. Vancouver, kind of already talked about them. Hessel, for the people that panicked at the 4 goals, you're going to kind of eat crow a little bit. Told you to chill. Again, what if you don't take anything from this? Sometimes you just got to chill on these things. Good players are going to stay good players. Don't overreact. Don't feel like you have to sell off a guy because he has one bad game. If he tears something, then you could try to sell off if you can get it in time. But relax. Hessel is going to be one of the top U23 keepers of the summer. So he should keep that done. Just, I don't know if Vancouver's all that good, but keeping a sheet versus NYC is fine. NYC is fine. We saw them 3 goals last night in CONCACAF Champions League. Biggest thing was, if I would have done this beforehand, I was going to say Thiago Martins is a buy low. I think, let's see if he's shot up. He had like 60 all around, or 60 total last night with the goal conceded. I didn't start him. I'm still salty. Let's see if this is going to work. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right. We're not going to worry about it. But he was going in like the low 0.2s. I think if you can get anywhere 0.25 or less, you're in good shape. They did go back 3. Be really interesting to see what they do come this weekend. Maxi, Tati, once Magno's on the platform, all going to be outstanding cards. Also, Santiago Ramirez, or I'm blanking on his name. I'm sorry, Rodriguez. I was like, it's not Ramirez. Santiago Rodriguez, goal and assist last night, looked awesome. New York City is going to be very good. Real Salt Lake. This was a full rotation from Seattle. We just saw Seattle last night win 3-0 at home versus Leon. Seattle's going to be fine. The biggest concern for Seattle is Lodero. It's now missed last night, missed this weekend. Now it's coming up that there's knee injuries. He already has bad knees. Like Lodero to me is like you could not sell him fast enough. I was trying to get him before the season. Thank God I was not successful. Rui Diaz should be back. They were saying like a week, but especially as well as Montero played last night, I wouldn't be shocked if Rui Diaz isn't back till after international break. For Salt Lake, McMath has been great. McMath is going to lose his job to Ochoa once healthy, so do not buy the McMath hype. Pablo Ruiz is somebody to buy the hype of. Was very, very bullish on him before the season, taking sets, very much like Frankie Amaya. So he's the only guy, in my opinion. There's only two guys that own Unreal Salt Lake, is Pablo Ruiz and is Zach McMath. And then I guess once he's healthy, Krylich. I don't know why he missed, but he should be fine. I didn't see anything big on him. All right, Charlotte versus LA. Charlotte looked a lot better at home. LA is a really good team, though. Douglas Costa almost made the stock down. No decisives again. I think he should be fine. LA just has so much talent. But I think he was getting up to like 0.5 ETH. I don't know if I want to spend that. I'd much rather have like a more proven MLS midfielder that doesn't get hurt a ton. Efrain Alvarez go off the bench was outstanding. If you haven't seen it, definitely recommend you do that. The LA is good. Charlotte's not. But, Charlotte did look a lot better. I think Charlotte at home is going to be a thing, much like Austin, even at times last year, was a thing at home. But on the road, Charlotte's going to continue to be a team we're going to target. Austin, are they as good as this? Probably not. This is about as good a matchup as you could possibly get. The first two at home for Inter, at home versus Miami and at home versus Cincinnati. Driussi is going to be outstanding. We already talked about him. Fagundes is a short-minute player. Once he gets more minutes, I think Fagundes taking sets is awesome. Yeah, those are the two I want. Dominguez's injury didn't look that bad. Maybe he's a buy low if people get worried. But yeah, Driussi, Fagundes are the cards I want. Oh, and then Pereira, I think, is a really interesting card too. Former #1 pick. There's nobody I want from Miami. Like, saw them all. Higuain got a decisive, but Higuain is just a no for me. LAFC in Portland, I think this is one of the biggest things is Carlos Vela subbed off at halftime. Still haven't seen it. One of the Discords I'm in, a lot of people have Vela cards and are like, should I sell? Like the last time he unexpectedly left the game for no reason and just a small injury or small maintenance, you missed like 2 months. And Carlos Vela is out of contract come the summer. Does not seem like he really wants to be there all that much. I'd be very, very, very concerned with Vela holder. I don't know if I would sell off or not. I really don't know the answer. I'm actually like glad at this point to not be a Vela holder, but that would not be a card I'm going out and seeking. Not until that contract situation is resolved. Kellen Acosta, when he left, took a monopoly set pieces. That could be a really decent card because Kellen Acosta does a lot on the all-around game in terms of defensively. He's going to get all their sets. For still, it's going to be a good team. Like Arango, B-Rod. If Vela does leave, they're going to spend that money. Cifuentes, Eli Sanchez is one of the top. I think actually I saw Eli Sanchez has the most all-around points of anybody in the MLS. He's going to be very good in that at Tuesta role. OFC will be fine, but they're not going to hit their own heights if they don't have Vela. Portland looked great. Yemi Chara had another mini bike, not a full-out bike, but Yemi Chara is awesome. Santiago Moreno, I continue to be incredibly impressed with. Blanco came off the bench. I do think Blanco will start eventually. I think what will be really interesting is while Mora's out, Nizgoda is giving them nothing. I do wonder if they try to do something where like they do this 4-4-2, and they play like Chara and Blanco. So they play like two number 10s and just play without a true number 9. That'll be interesting. East Jack looked really good. Portland had that game and then, conceded the late set piece, or we'd be talking about Portland, winning away to LAFC and drawing at home to New England being a hell of a start for the reigning Western Conference champs. All right. That was a lot. I hope that helps from a sort of perspective. Let's just talk about just a couple targets and then we will get out of here. Keep closing this share screen when I need it. So just looking at matchups for this coming weekend, keep in mind MLS, very, very home league. So if I'm looking for guys to like flip or guys to play just for matchup, I want the home guys, meaning like LA away to Miami. Despite Miami being a dumpster fire, Miami can show up a little bit at home. Gosh darn it. Sorry. So anyhow, let me just talk about the one that I know while this is loading. Orlando City hosting Cincinnati. I think Mauricio Pereira, I already picked up a copy. I think he's a great card to have for this weekend. Should be somebody that you start with confidence in some of your best lineups. If Facundo Torres had a card, that would be great. Pedro Galice and like an Antonio Carlos stack, I think will be super good. Urso, a decent value player in the middle. So, hey buddy, just one more minute. So I am bullish on them. Columbus at home versus Toronto. Obviously, if you have your Zella Ryan cards, he is a captain lock. You know, I think he'll be, if you knew who was going to start as the number 9, they'd be great. But I think Barry and Zardes, there's a really good shot that Zardes starts. Pedro Santos should be fine as like a utility card. Needs a decisive to really get any sort of upside playing at left back. Derek Etienne, I think is a really interesting target. He's in the low 0.1s. He is a locked-in starter. He, Jan Yeboah, and Zelarayan in that midfield are really, they're looking really good. So I think Derek Etienne's an interesting target that you could even potentially do like if he gets a decisive, he's going to shoot up to like the 0.16, 0.17 range. That could be an interesting like card to have for yourself or a card to flip. New England Revolution, they're all expensive, but that's a great matchup at home versus Salt Lake. Then finally, there's one more. Not particularly. Oh, Atlanta. Where's Atlanta? I can't see it. I'm sure they're staring at me. But Atlanta's at home versus Charlotte. I think that you know, for good reason, is a definite target. Especially for the defensive stacks. Miles Robinson, just note, is suspended due to red card. So if you have a Brooks Lennon and Kuzan stack could be interesting. And I do think Joseph, you know, does get a decisive here. Atlanta wins like 2 or 3 to nothing. All right. Kid is telling me it's time to go. It's time to go. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and look for more content this weekend. With that, I'll say, see you.